Establishing a quorum. I'm checking with Debbie to see if she's gonna join us, but we still have a quorum, and let's do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, did we have anyone register awesome as a visitor? So thank you very much. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda? I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Our student representative is apparently on vocal rest, so he's not able to join us tonight. So we're gonna, the new one for us. So we're gonna move to our next item, which is recognition of, of Brandy, our, did I hear all-state boys coach, soccer coach for 1A, 2A, 3A? Awesome. I have a little thank you. And I've also asked someone to speak on my behalf or the board's behalf tonight about how wonderful you are.
Can I take a picture of you and in a certificate?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I would be happy, like,
Yeah.
official.
make the kids do it.
Here, we'll just say like we like each other.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. This was really yours.
Special place to stand.
I think that's perfect. Oh, you know, he brought it. Super.
I am not very good at spontaneous impromptu, so I had to write a little something up. I could be up here for 2 hours talking about Brandy because she's such an awesome person, but I got what, 2 minutes? Is that what I heard?
Yeah. I'll do it too.
All right. I'll do my best in 2 minutes, Brandy. I've known Brandy forever, it seems like. I think about 20 years, somewhere in that range. I think when we met, she was probably coaching my daughter and playing soccer back in elementary school. And now mind you guys, soccer is not my cup of tea. But my daughter was always come back excited, all the fun skills and fundamentals she's learned from Brandy. And I thought I was gonna forever be going to soccer games and trying to possibly figure out what the heck this offsides is in soccer. Might be why I have offsides in soccer. But my daughter decided to go the volleyball route. Now I'm trying to figure out what the heck a Ferrero is. Randy stepped up years ago as our athletic director for a few years there. I know that was a stressful job. A lot of hard work went into that. But she did an excellent job. I appreciate her for taking on that responsibility in time of need, especially when the school district at that time was low on funds. You remember we had to cut some coaching, and I know that was tough. I think that was somewhere in 2009, 2011, somewhere in that range. And then if you move forward, Brandon and I were assistant football coaches together when our daughters played softball here at Creswell. I think around the 2013, 14, 17 range. We had such a great time coaching together that when the head job came open, it was no brainer for both of us to just sign on and take the softball program over. We've been doing that since I believe 2020. And I couldn't imagine coaching softball without it. I can't say enough about Brandy Winborn. She's one of the most unselfish, fun-loving, great human beings I know. She will stop everything to help you out. I can count on her for just about anything. She keeps me and the softball program organized and run like a smooth engine. Plus, she laughs at pretty much all my jokes. Brandy, thanks for all you've done for me, the coaches of Creswell High School, the parents and community of Creswell, and especially all the players and kids' lives you've touched. You're truly a great coach, and more importantly, an awesome person. Thank you.
Thank you. I see you right on that. Randy, we all talked about it in the meeting last month, and there's very few people who exemplify what Creswell community needs as much as you do, and we're so thankful to you. I mean, this year alone speaks volumes to who you are. The last 30+ years of you supporting kids and programs and always going above and beyond in ways that most people would not. It's not extremely, we're all very good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Above-
you.
Above and beyond, this year, we had a situation come up where we needed another soccer coach, a head coach to coach our girls soccer program. And we really needed somebody to come in that could kind of do a repair and move forward role. And Brandy didn't hesitate to step in and be that. But while she was head coach of the boys soccer program, she was also head coach of the girls soccer program, took both teams into the state finals. And here she is today. That's pretty awesome. Not many people could do that, let alone would do that. So thank you.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. And thanks to the school board and the community for always having my back these long years. Leave it at that, right?
Now you get to rest. When do you get to rest?
Winter rest, softball, we're back at work.
And then summer vacation.
Summer vacation. Wow. That's gonna be something.
Yeah. Have you ever had that?
Go camping.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, would any of you guys like to? Sorry, I monopolized the time.
You did great. Your words were eloquent. I echo everything you said. Your connection with kids is just amazing.
Thank you.
I just wanna say also, it's not just the kids, it's the staff, the way you connect, it's not just, I mean, you do have an amazing connection with the kids, but just as a colleague and having you for a period of time as that in the past, like. You are a shining light in this district, and so are your children. I just wanna say, like, it carries on and just like, yeah, I did that, Taylor. I genuinely like appreciate everything you do. And for all of the kids, all of the staff, and just being such an awesome community member and speaking on our behalf too. And the exchange and just the relationship that we all have. I just think it's really helpful for our community to have that cohesiveness, and thank you for being such a strong part of that. Yeah.
You're welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Randy. But you're not allowed to leave yet. Just kidding.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to leave. Okay, we will move on to our next item, which is Chanel and Bethany and SIA grants.
It'll mostly be me.
Perfect.
But it is a joint business here. So tonight, we are requesting board approval for the student investment account grant agreement, which is included in your board packet. And then as a reminder, the student investment account, or the SIA, provides funding to the district to improve academic achievement, increase equitable access, and support student health and well-being. I presented more detailed overview of the SIA work in August as one layer of many in the integrated programs. So I did a whole presentation then, and that is also on the website if you want to review that. So as a quick reminder of these bullets for the SIA funds in particular, the district is using it to strengthen academic intervention and small group instruction support, expand mental and behavioral health services for students, improve systems of support through multi-tiered systems of support, collaboration time and professional learning, increase student voice, family engagement, and equitable access to programs. So approval of this agreement is required by ODE for Creswell to receive and use our SIA funds for this year. Once it's approved, we can continue to implement these activities that I highlighted to support academic growth, student well-being, and equitable outcomes for all Creswell students. This grant agreement, I think I already mentioned, has also been published to our district website for public review as well. So pending your approval, we'll move forward unless you have any other questions for me and potentially Chanel.
Any questions from the group? Okay, thank you. And we will vote on that in our action items section. And I saw Sarah come in.
Yeah.
Our next presenter did join us, Christy Perry. Sorry, I'm making you jump right in, but if you're ready, we're ready for you. Yeah. So Christy is here from Human Capital Enterprises, and she's gonna start with a presentation, about next steps, and then we all have a little.
Here, let's talk.
Uh-oh.
No, it's also.
So we have in the, agenda to the presentation first, and then we'll do some action items a little bit later on for more discussion, if that's okay.
All right, and so is this where I present?
Yeah, that's great. You
Okay.
find your comfort zone
Okay,
in this room. We're fine.
I'm so like, what, how did you get Chad to tell me? Okay, so we'll start with the presentation and then later in the agenda, we're gonna work through some calendaring stuff. So, thanks for having us. Kathleen sends her apologies. She's at Lady and Steve tonight doing their planning meetings, so I get to be your gal and I'm super thrilled about that. A couple little things you don't know about me, and Chad probably doesn't even know this about me, is that even though I was a public educator for 30+ years, 18 years as an Oregon superintendent, we actually are a business family too. So my husband rocks and processes roads for timber companies. My son works for my husband and also has his own company. My daughter's opened a pediatric clinic in Little Dallas, Oregon. So I'm also the systems manager for Cultivate Pediatrics, because that's what moms do. But I've had the opportunity to both lead in small and large districts. And I have to tell you, it's so refreshing in small districts. I got to be in Dallas this week and helping them with some long-range facility planning. And I'm like, oh, you had no public comment, and it was 3 minutes from my house. So I'm just super thrilled to get to lead you through this process. So I'm gonna tell you what our process is, and I also want you to keep in mind that you are the board and this is your search. So I'm here to help you. I'm here to lay out best practice. You get to tweak it in the ways that are important for Creswell. So what I thought I would do in this part is just help you understand our phases. So when we get to our planning time later, you'll kind of know what we're talking about. So phase 1 starts today. This is our planning meeting. And we will calendar and put blocks of time out for each phase of the process, so that you know what to expect and you know how to calendar, and your candidates will also know what to expect from us. That's one thing we pride ourselves on, is making sure that candidates know what the process is, and we stick to the process once we've agreed to the greatest extent possible. The good news for you is that you've got a good start early enough in the year. If something happens that it's just not going quite the way we want it to, my best advice is always slow it down. You have time. And you've built that in by getting started early. So in this, we'll also tonight talk about focus groups, how we'll invite or do lottery, and then I will implement our engagement plan with some direction from you. Then we start engagement. In my mind, sometimes I like to snap things off. So again, if I try to push you too fast on something, just tell me. But engagement really starts, I think, this week. We have about 10 days until winter break, and we have a little bit of time that I think we can accomplish a few things. But engagement includes one-on-one with each of you. Marilyn has agreed that she will, I'm gonna give her blocks of time. She's gonna ask you to schedule time with me. We're gonna do a one-on-one virtual meet and greet, because I'm gonna ask you kind of what are your hopes and aspirations for the district, and what do you want to see in your next superintendent? What's going well? What are you struggling with? We'll also do 6 focus groups, and we'll have an online survey. And the online survey, I think we could get it launched before winter break and keep it open a little bit after winter break too, to get a really good turnout to meet our timeline. During that engagement phase, that then helps us inform the next, what's called the next superintendent criteria. And I will bring that to you in a public meeting, and we'll wrestle with it together, and you'll be like, yeah, I don't like this word, I don't like this thing here, and we'll put it to make it your next superintendent criteria. And then that's kind of your North Star for the process. So that's what happens during the engagement phase and the outcome. That next superintendent criteria is the outcome. So then we jump right in to advertising and applications. You need to know that, we handle all of this for you. Your, district doesn't have to do the application process. We have a system. We'll send out your, advertisement through the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators that gets everyone in Oregon. And, Human Capital has our e-blast. It goes out to about 40,000 readers across the country and within Oregon, and lots of people looking for superintendent jobs. Look at that e-blast. We do that as a free service, and even I would encourage you to say yes to both of those, because both of those are free, and it gets you a really wide audience for your advertisement. Then we have our application process. It's open. It's on a system called Breezy. It is pretty breezy. It's not too hard to use. And that's where we will collect applications. And later in the process, you'll have a chance to look at applications. So then the next phase is we've gone into selection. And the search that I understand we chose was a streamlined search. And in that search, we were gonna have me do the first round interviews. So I will open up the applications. I will review them for you. I will go, okay, this, out of these, let's say there's 20 applications. I think 8 meet your next superintendent criteria. And I will do video interviews with those candidates on your behalf. When we get past that phase, you get to look at all of the applications if you want. Some board members like to look at every single thing. Some board members say, I don't have enough time, I'm just gonna look at the 8 and I'm gonna watch the videos, because we're gonna come together in what's called the slate meeting. And you're at that point gonna decide who are your finalists. And the finalists can be 3 or 4 people, or they can be 2 people that you're gonna take to that next phase of the process. And again, that's just what you chose when you originally signed a contract with us, but if we decide to tweak it, we'll tweak the process. That finalist round, right now, we have it set, you're gonna have 1 confidential interview panel with the community, which means you will figure out how we're gonna select about 12 community members to be on a confidential community panel. And your finalist candidates will interview with the confidential community panel. So this is how you're gonna engage your community in the process. And I know that you are gonna want to talk a little bit about whether it's a public reveal or a confidential finalist process. We'll talk about that in our next session, so you can help guide me with it. There's some really good reasons to keep it confidential. And we always assert this community panel because your community deserves kind of spot in the process. In those interviews, then they'll interview all of your finalists and they will give feedback directly to you, because you are the hiring manager and you are gonna have get all the feedback from that. And then you're gonna do a final interview process with the candidate. You'll help decide what you want that final interview process to be when we start laying out that section of the process. During that finalist round, we're also gonna do reference checks. I'll do 1 reference check on every candidate that I bring forward for that beginning interview. So you'll get video interview, their application materials and a reference check. And then when we get to the finalists, either you will go out and do some the reference checks, or you can say, no, Christy, we want you to do reference checks. We like you to do it because it's really great for you as board members to hear directly from the people that have either been led by this person, or so you get that direct, and it doesn't feel like it's filtered through me. But I certainly can also help you with that if you get too busy in the process. And then I am going to recommend that you do a 3rd-party background check on at least your finalist. Because I think, again, that's part of your due diligence. So that's the selection process. And at the end of that, we're going to feel great because we're going to have 1 candidate. And then I'm going to help you kind of coordinate that next step, which I call the transition phase. Which is how are you gonna do contract negotiations, who's gonna help you with that, who's gonna help the finalist or your loan candidate? What's our public meeting gonna be like, when are we gonna have it? And then I'm gonna say to you, okay, you've got to get your new superintendent, we're getting ready to, announce it publicly. What is it you think the new superintendent is gonna need, and how can I help you facilitate that? I have a, few other jobs that I have. I also work a little bit for the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators. So I have the connection to say, okay, if you think your new superintendent needs a mentor, it doesn't have to be Christie, but let's see who is the best person to mentor that person. You as a board say, we really need a board and new superintendent goal setting and planning meeting. Could you facilitate that, Christie, or could somebody that you know facilitate that? So, or you can say, you know what? We are good to go. Your outgoing superintendent is gonna help, and we've got the transition plan in place. So I just like to pause in that moment to say, what do you need? And I'm happy with whatever you need that helps you have a successful transition and lead into a successful school year. So that's the, quick little overview of our process. And let me just pause and then I'll come back later with questions you have about the process.
We'll have like a discussion about which pieces, just a little bit later. Session.
Is there any questions about the process? Okay,
You did great then.
all right, we're good to go. I'll be back.
Thank you very much, Mostly. Okay, we'll keep moving. I think Mr. Johnson, you're up with the superintendent's report.
Okay, so, been looking at my activities and highlights. First, the highlights, the seismic grant application has been completed with PCS. So now we're just waiting for submission and review. That was a good thing to work through with them at CCS. Just so you know, what we added into that application, was the inclusion of the high school site as the emergency response unification site. So, that will be the reunification site for the city of Creswell. And I spoke to you in our last meeting and let you know that I worked with our city manager, Vince, who, was thrilled to write a letter of support for the seismic grant and having our schools as reunification sites for the city of Creswell. So, glad to have that done. Boys and girls soccer playoffs, we talked with Brandy and acknowledged her, but man, what a season, what a coach. The two of them, Brandy and Colin, just were fantastic, and Kyle and helping with transition, keeping the girls going. Yeah, it was a great season for both teams. Chad and I met with the SNA signs to talk about putting some signs out in front of the school, some reader boards out there. So we'll be moving forward with that, having discussions about what sign, what location, and that kind of thing. We can bring some of the drafts to you if you'd like to see that. But pretty cool. And it's about time. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the visiting team's bus just went by the high school. And then they're trying to find how they're gonna turn around in that neighborhood up there in E Block and get back to the school. But it's just, it's not easy to identify the driveway there. And so we're looking for a way to do that. We need to come up current and have, some kind of a reader board out there that's lit up so everybody knows where the high school is. So we're working on that. That's pretty exciting for both Chad and I. The academic hall, the improvements there on the renovation and the seismic grant working side by side with the modernization of the building and also the seismic grant improvements. We had a great meeting, 2 meetings yesterday, one here with the contractors, and then we all went over and visited Chad for a while and talked about planning and how we're going to transition with staff into construction, this spring. And, Chad is working with the staff to prepare them while we're preparing the plan together, all of us. So that, it's really coming together. The plan, we're just about ready to, I would say, put a stamp on it, right? I would think by next month.
Sure.
And next month, we'll have a stamp on that. The presentation will then go to the staff along with the plan on how we're transitioning into construction. And what construction will be happening during movement during winter break with staff. And then after winter break, the construction starts inside the building. And so with the least amount of disruption as possible. In spring break, we really get going on the construction. Where we're coming in and we're starting to make some seismic demolition project, things will be going on there with the seismic, with the walls and things of that nature. But given the choice of starting early on the construction or running into the fall when we're trying to get schools started with construction, the best plan was going in this spring and getting things started so we could finish in the summer and not have a chaotic beginning of the school year. So, but all staff is on board and they understand that. And Chad's working really well and communicating with them, and we're listening to whatever feedback he's getting from them, and we're processing it and coming back with whatever adjustments we need to for the staff. And then talk about the seismic application. And then, is there anything else you would like me to speak to, or any questions you have about any of the other activities, or then my report there?
Is that the final seismic grant?
No, the one that we just submit, or that we are submitting, will be for building number 4, the current shop build.
Oh, okay.
So this will be the 4th grant total that we have received. Our goal was to get $10 million in seismic grants. We get this last one, we'll have $9.5 million. Since 2021.
It's 1 year old, 20, I think 1 year, 2020.
Yeah, because they denied us the first year, so we didn't go for that round, but yeah, we will have reached our goal pretty close. Of 10 million in seismic grants. And we still have, with all the construction that we've done so far, mostly has been seismic grants and awesome grants and other grants, that grant funds that we pulled in from our energy grant proceeds or reimbursements. And so out of the 18 million that we brought in on our bond, we're sitting on a little over 15 million to complete the high school project and some of the other surrounding projects outside of our buildings, parking lots and that kind of thing. So holding strong.
Do we have on the bond, do we have a time frame when we need to spend the money for the bond, or does it sit there?
So there is an 85% expenditure they want within 3 years. We've talked with our bond attorney and also the campaign manager and the consultants that we were working with. With the money being a good amount of it being held up by the CTE building and their process, we're good to go. We need to show effort that we want to spend that money, but for whatever reason on our project, it's being held up or delayed without that not being our fault. And so we're in good faith, we want to spend that money, but we're waiting for that to come through for us on the other end. And so we're good. As long as we're pushing forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything for Superintendent Johnson before we move forward? No, okay. We do not have any public comment tonight. We do not have any unfinished business, so that then gets into new business, which is a information discussion on the 2024 to 2025 Oregon Department of Education grants report cards. Is that you, Ethan?
Well, yeah, I'll take that one. Okay, so you've had a while to take a look at this. We've seen them before. We've talked about what the data means. We are, more interested in how we're processing this data in our schools and what areas we're targeting for our goals for academic improvement or, well-being. And so our principals have been, processing this in the schools with staffs and site councils. And they have presented their goals to me reflecting upon this data. Although they only write 2 student growth goals, they have many other goals that are sub goals of those or additional goals to them that they work on, but, you know, by procedure, they are, in policy, they are to submit those 2 growth goals. So, they've submitted those to me. They do reflect the data. All of them reflect our state, standardized assessment data and our student performance on those tests. So, we're well on the way, but this was really kind of hot off the press. It was just released from OBE, so you're getting it now. But the principals have been looking at it for a month. On the back page, you'll see, when we disaggregate this data into student subgroups and you look at our historically marginalized student populations. See how they're doing always, consistently for as long as I've been here. Our, Hispanic Latino students have kind of led the way in our district with achievement and graduation rates. So, when we look at all groups in comparison, you know, they really kind of take it home for us. But we look at other groups, our economically disadvantaged groups, a group of students and, which does not, it doesn't discriminate between any group. That's just all encompassing group of students that include all students, all of our students from all of our groups. So we really focused on that to see what we can do in this area with attendance for student achievement and support of well-being to make improvements there. So a large group of students, so big targets we can set on that group. Do you have any questions on any of those first 2 pages? And then we talked about our rating as we go through the accountabilities detailed report and our details report. And so we definitely want to move the needle on those and keep moving to the right on that rubric. So that's what we're working on and discussing with our teams, our professional learning teams at the schools on strategies that we can apply to make improvements and get those things moving to the right, wherever they may be. Right, meaning numeric.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, if you have any questions about these, you can email me. We can have a discussion about the data. We as our leadership team with the principals or all of our administrators, we're processing this every month. This is the first topic on our leadership agenda. And we continue to speak about how we're making improvement in these areas and what we're doing with best practices in instruction. So that's where we're at.
With attendance being down in a couple of schools, attendance, I remember last year also being a struggle. Is there any new insights? Like what's been the conversation so far? I guess that's probably I have just a curiosity question.
So if student engagement is number one, in the climate, what we've been really focused on is the climate of our schools. And what we're seeing already at the high school is an increase in attendance. And Jack can talk about that, but at the the difference in school attendance. The level, the percentage of students attending, at the high school at 90%. The percentage is higher than I've seen well, I haven't seen them that high. Because maybe went into COVID, came out and attendance wasn't really much of a requirement. It was we touched base, but it wasn't until, 2 years after, we get out of, or post-COVID. But, Chad, I saw some numbers out there from you in attendance at high school. We want to spit those out to us real quick.
For first quarter, we're at 75% of students are 90% or greater, which is on par with the last time was at 2018-19.
And they're just getting started on it. So a lot of student engagement, a lot of improvement around the climate culture of the campuses. And they're working with kids on well-being and inclusion. That's the goal, and we've talked about it district-wide, so.
Engagement typically hasn't been the problem at the elementary school, but if I remember right, its numbers were down. Is it more sickness related when it comes to the little kiddos?
Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so nothing new happening there, just like the minute school was in, there was a bug that was going around, so it's that kind of a thing. Still
Yeah,
just,
there's so many so many viruses that hit us at one time.
okay,
It's just, it's like how many more viruses can we get out of these current? I mean, they just keep also. Not only our kids though, but our staff attendance. I mean, I'm looking at staff popping out and some of them are like zombies. And I had to send Gilbert home yesterday. I told him to go home. I mean, it's the same.
yeah.
These viruses are just.
So
getting
nothing
everybody.
was popping up at the elementary school, still just fighting they wanna share everything.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay,
We'll keep moving then. Our next item is the November economic forecast for financial preview.
So the new economic forecast came out and that there was good news and, well, it's better news than what we heard in the first quarter report. We heard that Oregon was looking at a forecast of a $1.2 billion shortfall, which was hit in education, public education here at about 700 million, maybe a little over more, or a little over 700 million. In the last report out from Oregon on the revenue and where we are economically as a state, we're now 320 million down. So, we're trying, that's still not great news, but what it means for us is that for Creswell, is that we don't have mid-year cuts and layoffs. And so, not every district is in that situation because we've all been hit on some cuts already with some of our grants, and which is causing, major cuts for some districts. But we're not in that situation, so we keep moving forward now with our strategies for the budget going in for next year's budget and how we're going to address a $1 million shortfall for us in the next year.
That was great. Yeah.
Now, that's a tough one. I really empathize with those districts that are in that situation, and some of this is the second year that they've been hit with, and that they made cuts during the school year. Because it just keeps falling as the enrollment falls and it's not good, not a good situation. But we keep doing what we do for kids, and we will resolve the budget. But that's where we're at now. Do you want to add anything, Chanel? Talk about it.
No, I think it's good level.
Hopefully I got the numbers close.
Can't know if that was a yes or a no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the numbers are, you're on that.
Okay. When I give my boss that look, it's usually like, no.
I was looking at her, I was looking at Christie, because I know she knows the numbers too. I give us.
So no numbers here.
Okay, thank you very much, and that moves us back to Christy. We're gonna now have an action discussion item around communication logistics, timeline, and focus groups. And then also just any of the planning conversations that we need to have. And that'll lead us right into a vote on the timeline. So, you're back.
Okay, and would you feel bad if I came and sat?
No, please, don't, and I'm where you're comfortable.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm used to having my computer and a
Yeah.
table and.
So thank you.
Welcome.
Look at this, I'm right here. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for letting me just
Yeah.
sit this spot here. So I kind of want to go through the kind of all the items on my agenda, then bump back to the timeline. Because I think some of your discussions will feed in with where we go with the timeline. So first of all, around communications and logistics. So I've already become fast friends with Marilyn. And I'm hopeful that I can either funnel communication through her, or like this morning, you saw I emailed the whole board. I'll always include Marilyn in that, and if you want us to include your superintendent, I'll do that as well. I think it's kind of nice for you as in the position of being able to kind of see all the pieces as they're going, because like I was taking notes there, because I'm gonna write for the e-blast, I'm gonna write your advertising, so I'm taking notes of the good things you're sharing. And I'm gonna want to have some help from you in some of that. That's what's the great thing is about Creswell as we sell your district. So if there, and for the most part, I will communicate directly to all board members at the same time so that you're all in on a communication stream. I think that's really important. And all of you will hopefully feel like if you just have a question, just ask me. I'll get to make sure you have my cell phone and you have my email. And really, if there's a question about process, just ask. Likely, if you have a question, so does somebody else. So if it seems like a question that everyone needs to know the answer to, I'll send it back out to the entire board so that everyone can see. At times, if this is how it's gonna work here, I'll go to board leadership for logistical things. Unless as a group you decide you want to appoint somebody else. That's my main point of contact for logistical things. It doesn't come up very often, but we might hit a snag or something in the process, or I need to make sure, does this bill right with you for the space we're gonna have this, or how do I get to this group, you know, those sorts of questions that really the whole board doesn't need to weigh in on. So, and then the other thing, I'm going to need some help from somebody in the district to help with when we communicate out about the survey, when we set up focus groups. And that's best done by a district person with me, so I'd open it up to say, who do you want that to be? And it can be you, it can be somebody else on your team, whatever. Whatever you want, so I'm just gonna pause and.
Meaning like getting rooms or.
Like as well, I think getting rooms would be Maryland,
Okay.
but we're gonna wanna send out a community survey. So who do I go to
Do
say,
you want to go through you?
do you want,
Mike, yeah, then he could distribute it to the right district team member.
okay,
Does anyone, unless you guys feel differently?
Yeah, no, that's great. I was gonna say Mike and or Bethany. Yeah. I would think would be great.
okay, there we go, okay.
Tom's expert.
Tom's expert, because we will want to, however we decide to do the focus groups, I'll need probably Bethany's or Mike's help to say, okay, are we gonna, are we gonna do it by lottery? So are we gonna get an educator group together? I can create all the forms and all that stuff pretty quick, because I have templates for it, but I just need to know who my point of contact is. Great. Any problems with how I've laid out the communication part of it? Sounds great. Okay, good, just go, right? Okay. Next thing is, Marilyn will have my schedule with one-on-ones with you. I'll ask you to pick 30 minutes on my calendar and I'll ask Marilyn to send a calendar invite and I'll get my Zoom link for you. And I won't schedule them back to back in case we go a little long. And that's your time to tell me what's going great. What are the challenges? What do you think you need? And then your next superintendent just went on with me, and I put that as part of our feedback. I already have, the survey is similar for your community, and I'll work with Bethany and Mike to figure out how we get that out the widest way. But the focus groups. You have 6. Definitely, I think you're gonna want some internal staff, but I also need you to either tell me, here's the 6 focus groups I want. Or delegate it to Mike and Bethany to say, help Christy figure out the 6 focus groups.
How many people can be in a focus group?
They end up being, Hank, our boss, says 6. I always invite 8 because often people say they can make it and they don't. So I get 8 and we spend 40 minutes. Some groups are chatty and I let it go longer. I just feel like people need to talk sometimes. Generally, we also have a way, and I'll need a little help with this, to do that by lottery. So if you say, we want to be sure that we have a focus group of teachers and a focus group of classified employees, then we'll do a all call for applicant submissions, and then we'll just do a lottery for that. But so how do you want to decide on the focus groups?
I mean, I think we talked about what we would like, and then we'll kind of maybe go from there.
Okay.
I think at least 2 of staff, one
Okay,
educate, 1 teacher and 1. Maybe 3, I mean, 2 to 3 of staff, maybe 1 educator, 1 classified, and then if we wanna do a leadership one, I don't know how you guys feel about that. And then the other 3 should be community members of either a mixture of parents or community members who want to participate.
Agreed. I think I'm pro in having a leader, the leadership, so like staff, classified leadership. And then community members, I think I think all those voices are gonna be super important.
do you have any community members that you would insist have to be in a focus group, and so you'd want one of your community focus groups to be invite only? Like, do you, and it varies in every community, so there's no wrong answer, but do you need a focus group that includes your mayor and a city council member and another community partner? Or are you great to just send it out to your families and your community and see who is interested?
I have a few community members in mind that are highly active in the schools that I would really want a preference. I wouldn't, like, I would want the board to be able to agree, like, oh yeah, that, like, the efforts that they're doing within the schools are important. So I have that thought. But what is everybody else feeling about that?
Yeah, I think invites are fine, and we'll see
Yeah,
how
it's,
many choose to participate.
yeah, it's just a handful that I would want to be able to be invited and attend.
Yeah.
I do think this is also a good opportunity, as you brought up, like the mayor and some of those people, maybe for us to invite them and try to engage them in the process, because that hasn't been something that. Since I've been on the board, I've historically seen a lot of engagement with them, so I think that that could be a great place to extend the invite and open that. Like the new city manager, and their new city manager. And that's, yeah.
So having a focus group with invite sounds like that could be, like, I'd be in favor of that.
Yeah, I would too.
So what if we do a focus group that is invite only? That's community, a focus group that is, parents and community, and there'll be 2 of those, and those will be by lottery.
Yeah.
Okay, and then,
I would say, the only thing I'd add to that is the one that's by invite only, I would wanna make sure we fill it up, so if our invites don't
yeah,
all pan out, that we're adding those to the lottery. Absolutely.
will it be Bethany or Mike or both of you that work with me on the focus groups populating?
I'd be interested in your,
Both.
your staff, so what would you like on?
Whatever you need, but I'll do whatever you want me to
Okay,
do.
well, I just don't wanna assign work to Bethany if you're.
Well, so, okay, I see it back there.
Both.
Okay,
Bethany.
Yeah, you're awesome.
So if you have somebody, a name that you think should be on the invite list, get it, to Mike by, by the beginning of the week. Cause I predict that the focus groups will get everything figured out and we'll do them right after the break.
Okay.
That seems better, but that gives us plenty of time to. So names of invite to Mike by Monday. Great. Okay. I also, generally will do a one-on-one with Mike as well. It's just really important to hear from him, so you tell me if it's going south with Mike.
I feel south.
Yeah, I know.
I go south. Hey, look at me in retirement, do not do what I'm doing, okay?
Right. Good luck, good luck with that, yeah.
You're gonna be like me, aren't you?
I,
My daughter in that business, she opened up too. Okay, so I've got direction there. Internal candidates and fairness considerations. So, our process is everyone's treated the same way, whether they're internal or external. And that they get the same attention from me. And I'm gonna ask that if you have people that reach out to you right now, your job is to simply send them to me. And I will make sure that I help them understand the next superintendent criteria, anything they need to know about Creswell. And if I have questions, I'll ask somebody else. So anybody that hears, their job is just to send them to me. Unless you told me you wanted an internal process only, internal applicants are considered the same as external applicants and go through the same process. Good. Okay, you guys are like clicking through this. The next thing I want to talk about is publicity. Or, are you gonna have a public reveal or are you gonna keep the search confidential? Our process at Human Capital is always to recommend a confidential search. And that isn't the way you've done it before, and that's okay, and it ultimately is your decision. So let me help you with the kind of pros and cons of it. The pros are you are going to get a bigger applicant pool if you keep it, if they know it's confidential. In fact, I've already had one outreach from somebody that said, this is a confidential outreach. Can you tell me more about the process? And I said, well, in a couple days, but, in fairness, we're in a really heightened time, and for people to put their name forward, they are, if they're a sitting superintendent, they're gonna not want to be letting their own community down. And so, ultimately, they become public, but, that's really the, you do harm to applicants in a public process. A lot of times, and a smaller community, it's easier to pull off, so I will tell you that. But in large communities where you have lots of stakeholders that show up to public forums, you get heckling, you get rude comments, and people aren't judging the candidates by their application materials or their interview or what they've accomplished. They're judging them by a single interaction. So that's why we recommend a confidential process. And at the same time, it's why we put that confidential community panel as an interview process, so that confidential interview panel gets the resume, the application, they ask them questions, and for fairness and equity about experience, they're all asked the same questions. So, and we think that's really important, and generally that has been the way that it's been okay for communities to not do a public reveal process. Your community may also have the full expectation that you take candidates forward publicly. The way we've laid out the process that I'm gonna do round one interviews, and then you're gonna have finalists. If you decide to interview 5 finalists, I wouldn't make them all public, you know, I'd maybe have a step afterwards, after that, which elongates it a little bit. So what are your
thoughts and questions and concerns. I know you are the board and you live in this community and you have to choose.
Can I ask why we did the public, like why we've not done a confidential search before, like why did we choose? What we used OSBA last time and that was their process, we just followed what their process was, so we didn't even have this conversation, I don't remember having this conversation, do you? Around the confidential or not we just went with what their process was.
That's what I'm recalling as
Yeah.
well.
I think they still do that.
Their own protection in their own communities, I'm in favor of confidential. Yeah, I feel the same way, I'd rather have a wider pool of candidates because they feel comfortable applying and then having a process where we engage the community. One through focus groups and a confident and an interview process at the end, if that's gonna get us the biggest amount of candidates, I feel like that's the best.
And if you, I wouldn't start out by recommending this, but if we look at these focus groups and we have a lot of interest in people wanting to be in the focus groups, and then we look at the confidential community panel and we think we can't narrow it to 12 people, you could add another confidential community panel. In Beaverton, Eugene, Salem, Kaiser, we did 3 confidential. I don't know that I would lead with saying you need that,
Sure.
but you might choose that because then you have 24 people that are giving you feedback.
I think that the confidential piece is really important, like you said, kind of in the climate, I'm fully in agreement with that. Just trying to get the best applicant pool, but also I think for us as a board, it's just making sure we have the community engagement and that the community's aware that we did go through that process of having community engagement, so that confidential panel, just, it's not just having it, but it's making sure the community knows that we didn't just make this decision without thinking this through in a way where their voices were heard. And I think part of that is maybe that comes to the publicity aspect of how to relate, and when you do make the final announcement, letting them know that there was a panel there or something. I don't know what that looks like, I've never done
To
this.
participate, right, like
Oh,
how do
right.
you make sure we get out that if you want to
Yeah.
participate.
Is that part of the community survey that goes out, like where you can say this is what our process is, and if you're interested, there's gonna be a lottery system to give like.
Yeah,
Forewarning.
we haven't put it as part of the survey, but anytime we get ready to do something, we outline, like tonight when you vote on the timeline, then we'll want to put that on your website and we'll want to have a place on your website that says superintendent search and we'll outline the process. So if the community survey is coming out from an email, you start in the body of your email to say, this is the first step in our process. We're engaging the community, you'll have other opportunities to engage. And when I do the focus groups, I actually talk to them about the confidential community panel as well, beginning, so I'm like, hey, if you like this, there's another opportunity coming.
How are we gonna reach the community outside of those in the district?
That is,
Yeah, that's a good question, because because I don't have kids here, I don't get any of the district emails, so I think that is. I mean, I don't know,
How do we reach them?
did that
be better?
does the city, like, I wonder if we could partner with the city, I mean, they know. I get stuff about my water. I mean,
Put that water bills.
And we're doing that.
Here it is.
I mean, maybe we could talk to the city manager, I don't know.
I think we can, well, maybe follow the same process we did when we went out for a bond campaign.
Which was when.
So we were able to get all, contact or communication. With as many by phone or by mail, we could get it by mail, of all residents in Creswell.
That's a good idea.
maybe we do one, if you're open to it, we do one Creswell mailing that outlines the process.
Yeah.
And says, go here to look for things.
Or if you're interested, submit your, if you want the survey,
Well,
submit your email.
and they can have the link to go on to the website, just on our district.
And the community survey is launched, if you wanna take it, click here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that, it's a great idea, and I think it might, take us a little longer, and that's okay. I'm thinking about the timeline now, cause I was thinking we could try to launch the survey before winter break. But I wonder if we're better off to get everything organized before winter break, mail out right after.
Do we still have all those lists of
Or
contacts
that's your-
from when we did the farm?
Pretty close, but we can reach out to the, what was it,
And what is the cost
How's
of
it
running?
County.
yeah, it's the county, yeah, we can find out where all our
You know, now.
voters are.
Very expensive, it's.
So we can pull that information, it's public information,
It's not just
so
now.
we can pull that, but I don't know if we need to. I don't know what kind of mailing you wanna do, but we can send one out as a prep to say, hey. You know, we're initiating this process. Here's where we are, here are the dates where we're gonna start engagement. And here's the link to come in and just give them the link and they can go in and get all the information they want.
Yeah, so the postcard is simple.
Yeah, just a nice little postcard.
And I actually read those when they come in the mail. A postcard, like if you send me a letter, I may or may not open it. I'll be honest.
Say,
Delete it by
Yeah, I may not.
Yeah.
open it.
Don't, just one mailing though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that would
Yeah,
be
like, yeah,
Definitely adequate, then they have to come kind of self-serve to keep updated on
Yeah,
the
And if you have
process.
social media, that's the other place to push it out to your school. So
Yeah, we do have a Facebook page that we push out through. And, yeah, so we have several media.
much easier to get to our parents, you know, that's the easy
that's
part.
our easy part.
But many of the people that we're gonna want on these,
Yeah,
focus groups may not be parents.
maybe we can, you know, so we don't hold ourselves up too much. Maybe we can kind of think about how, when we schedule our panels, because we can handle like people who work for us, we can have those much more quickly. Even our invite, people we want to invite from the community, and then maybe our last two are other community members to give us some. Really
Wait to get to your parents.
Well,
Yeah.
Bethany in tomorrow can put a
Clear
superintendent
yourself.
search link
Mhm.
on our website.
Mhm.
And that thing will be live until processing. But then we can send a postcard out, just say, hey. This is where we're at, we're starting this process. And, I mean, we can get those postcards and send them out tomorrow with just a, you know, broad statement of what we're doing.
And
in general.
we've got the survey actually ready to go too. So we could have the survey live.
So the survey can be on the link. Postcard can go out in a week. And, we can do, we know doing it
Yeah,
in the process.
it's superintendent search underway, two initial opportunities for input, survey, sign up for a focus group. Selected by lottery. And go to the website, like. Kind of three things.
What about an article in the Chronicle, set of postcards? Does anybody read that?
I could not.
You're not.
They barely even sell it in Creswell, I mean, not that I don't think they do a great job, but I don't think it has a lot of circulation around town. And
But we could also ask the city to put it up on the reader board,
Yeah.
have Bill put it up on the
Yeah.
reader board.
yeah,
Well, I just know the mailings to taxpayers for postage was about $5,000. So that was only to
We
taxpayers.
used to have, Marilyn, you might remember this, we had a nonprofit walk rate. Russell, so this is we own one that we use. We used to do that years ago.
right, yeah,
Maybe you should cross that out before.
Yeah.
yeah.
You do that on a postcard, then just. You could also contact the post office and get all the addresses for 97426. We did that with the fire department when we did ours. You just get every address for the zip code.
So, just a couple thoughts, I would probably preference folks that have connections with the district over not, just because they would have probably more. Actual knowledge of what's going right and wrong, so if the mailing is super expensive, I'd probably opt to save our money somewhere else. Mike's always done such a great job of community groups when we did our strategic plans, and we've done two processes. So one, I'd love to make sure you get a copy of our current strategic plan in terms of the pathway that our district is going. I think that would be really important. If we have sign up sheets, from those different community groups, those are the community people that are engaged enough to spend 2 or 3 hours to help us plan our direction.
Yeah.
Like that would be a great email list to say, you've been interested before and we would be interested in knowing if you want to participate, right? Fill out the survey, focus group, whatever.
And you have email lists.
So I don't remember what the sign up sheet or who you just, if you remember, if you have lists of who attended, that would be my first go-to. So just thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the city, I mean, that would be great if this, if we got the city to put it on the reader board. That's, lots of people see that.
We could put it on, I mean, the middle school has, these two schools both have reader board, if we could put it on there, so that it's already visible and people driving by are seeing it. Just inside.
So we have about 7,500 to 8,000 residents in Creswell, about 5,000 in Creswell proper. And we've connected online for surveys to 3,500 responses. But we have,
That's a really good look.
Yeah.
That's really good.
we have 1,000 kids, so we can reach out to 2,200 parents. Those kids, and they have grandparents that are located, about 40% of our population or more are generational. So, we can really get close to 2,000, 2,500 just by going to our current list.
If you get 2,000 surveys, that would be impressive, because Beaverton only got 19 or 1,600, so.
Well,
Let's not-
exactly.
let's not- Right now. It's really good, right? So, let me ask a question, for Bethany and Mike. Do you think it's doable to, do outreach and get the survey launched? And the request for focus group participation just before winter break? The focus groups don't have to happen before winter break, but is that for a communications launch, is that doable? It's not.
We'll give it, we'll give it a really good effort. We'll see how hard we can push this. But we pushed out hard before.
Okay, let's do it.
So is that, I just wanna make sure we're on the same page, and so we're saying hold on the mailing, since it sounds like it's cost prohibitive. And focus on things that we own and or can do pretty quickly. And
Okay, we'll see how far we get. Okay, last two items, and then we'll just move to the timeline, last three. At some point, I'm gonna ask you, are you going to require that your superintendent lives in your community? I'm also gonna bring you salary information to say, I've gotta have a range for posting this. But I'll do some data analysis first, we'll get that for you. And before we move on to timelines, is there anything else you think I should know? Or things that I haven't asked? And we'll dig into dates. Okay.
I'm fine. I literally was like, what else besides the strategic plan should you know about that we know Mike and staff use to guide what the future looks like? And I wasn't coming up with anything. So that was the look, and you're like, I could, yeah, you can see my wheels turning.
okay, great.
And you're gonna get your chance one-on-one with me too, so if you think of other things, or if Mike thinks of things, I'm gonna. Create 2 or 3 paragraphs about your community and your district. There's gonna sell people to come here, and so we'll want to have that. Okay. I do.
She has a great community.
Bond management. We're in the middle of a bond. I know.
A great bond.
I was thinking of that. Tell me when you passed your bond.
23.
23, that's what I counted. And you're also, as part of that, there's major renovations to the school, but especially at the high school, and you're gonna build a CPE center. And on track. Ish.
Yeah, as much as.
I believe
that.
Yeah, so I think Bethany has been the major producer, but we have a webpage that has been keeping people up to date on what's happened at the schools. So that would be a great reference to say, like, look at all the great things so far. Mike has the list of what's coming up next. We do have a bond oversight committee that is part of the language of the bond, that is citizen members overseeing. And that process is going smooth. They're loving the implementation. So everything about that is positive.
And it looks like, it also sounded like you've leveraged other grant sources too with your seismic grants.
Hugely. And all the other big words.
Yeah. And it's such a signal to people too, that your community believes in your schools. They passed them on.
Yeah, at the highest rate of passing any bond thing in like 50 years. It passed at 70% when our average school would fail or win by about 1%. 49, 50, 50 and a half of failing and passing.
I feel like it was the signs on the street corners.
It was a lot.
Very hard. And then you got the kids doing door to door, and that was the kids, yeah.
But that said, we didn't.
And
have
endorsement
letters, we had everything, one that has.
Oh, students, you want kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's us put together, that may add one, but you need kids in it.
Yeah.
For a couple $100.
Always get somebody.
Yeah, kids are actually always the best.
The other thing about our kids is they do really well with participating with adults and things, so if it comes, I mean, they did a phenomenal job in strategic planning with being in groups with adults, yeah. So I think there's also that, if we see how the numbers come out and we're like, hey, it makes sense to put them in these other groups, they will do a very nice job.
Yeah.
Okay. I also will recommend that you at least put a student or two on the confidential community panel.
Oh, yeah.
They actually. They're great. Okay. So, if you move to the timeline, what I have is, this is our planning meeting, so check. We'll start the one-on-one meetings with board members. If we can't get those in next week, we'll, spill into the following week. We'll start our focus group meetings, and I think we'll actually put our focus group meetings after the holiday, but we'll work on getting people selected for them and soliciting input this next week, and then I'll actually conduct them, but I will work with Bethany and Mike to choose kind of the best time for each of the groups, like when was the best time for educators, and then we'll get them locked down on time, and then we'll start soliciting people to apply. So then I'm thinking if we could get the online survey launched whenever you're ready, we're ready on our end, so it can launch as soon as Friday.
I can get it done tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. You're amazing. This is how it's done.
Give me a challenge.
I know, I haven't put December 11th.
2000.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
Saw your eye go like.
I know, and I kind of knew this.
Get this done.
I kind of knew this about you, and that's why I thought I'm telling them how many people. 3,000 surveys and you only have 5,000 residents. How'd you do?
There's gonna be a video. She's gonna talk about it. Like, here's what we need for you. She's gonna use her cheerleading.
Oh, hey, we could pass it out at the winter parade on Saturday.
There you go.
Lights parade.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. If
You're
you
gonna
got
get
candy
an
cane
idea.
and the price might my shoe, let's do that.
You get a candy cane and an invitation to do the survey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just gotta get you dates for focus groups. You gotta figure that out, and you guys are gonna go.
When is the parade?
Saturday.
5 o'clock.
You've got a lot.
I know, like, oh my goodness, but survey's done, it's just getting the messaging for you. Okay, so I put the survey's gonna launch on December 12th. I don't think we should quite launch it tomorrow. And then I never thought I'd meet somebody that slowed me down like that. I had to slow down for it. Okay, so then, and I think we might be able to bump this a little bit, but I'm gonna need a few days to take all of your feedback, especially now that I know it's gonna be 2,000 people. And all the focus groups work, and then I will draft your next superintendent criteria. So I'd like to have the focus groups done by the 8th and close the survey on the 8th, because then that gives me a few days to do that, because my goal is that your next board meeting, and we try to align it with your board meeting, is that on the 14th, we have the next superintendent criteria. Any public input that people have on that, there's lots of people here, I see. 92 public comments of Beaverton, don't go for that. They did it in the survey too, then they gave feedback on it, but, and then we'll discuss the salary range. At that meeting, so if you're good, we will lock in that 14th as your, next time you'll see me, in person for that.
So when would you have all the focus groups done by?
Like January, 7th, 8th in there. So I'm thinking that week, you have, Monday's the first day back from winter break, that's the 5th. So I would probably not focus, it's only gonna be 6 focus groups, so I think it'll be super easy. I'm gonna put them in like the 6th, 7th and 8th. So,
Okay, I was thinking both kids, teachers, staff, they're gonna want the time off. They literally may have vacation scheduled.
yeah.
So if we're wanting people to feel that they can participate, it would be after the 5th.
yeah, I just don't think it's, reasonable to get people in next week either.
Agreed.
Yeah, but we can
Okay.
solicit input and get names and everything.
Okay, great, thank you.
And like I said, I won't do it on the 5th either, because people are just back from break and they won't remember.
Yeah,
I'll have-
6, 7, 8, that's great.
Yeah.
I should be able to get everybody.
And we'll also do another plug about the survey, right, when people are coming back after winter break, because we're still trying to get to a 2,000. So they'll have a few days after winter break, so we'll couch it around winter break, and then that'll give me Friday through Monday or Tuesday to get through next superintendent criteria. I'd like you to be able to have it ahead of time, so you can look at it, but it might not be more than a day or 2 ahead of time. Maybe you'll have it. Okay, then I'm thinking we will open the position a couple days after that. And we'll begin the advertisement, and I'm thinking like that I think that's 3 weeks there, the 16th, January 16th through February 9th. Calendar's not wanting to move to the next month. And I made it February 9th because that's a Monday, so that gives people an extra weekend to do it. And I think that's a, okay amount of time. If something happens, we feel like we don't have the applicant pool, then we'll stop and regroup and go out further. And it likely means like right around, the 16th is when we'll, line up to get that e-blast out. And we'll, whatever the Wednesday is, after that, we'll get it posted on the Coastal Jobs Board as well. So, then I will take care of the next part, which is, the first round interviews. I'll figure out, where within that, week is best time. And I think because I'm doing, it's not just a preliminary, it's actually the first round, I'm gonna do a full 40 minutes with candidates and make sure they have a good number. Which means then you're gonna have, 40-minute video interviews to watch ahead of when we meet. And I am looking at and wondering if February 25th, I couldn't line this one up. It doesn't. Separate board meeting. Okay. February 25th, and I picked a Wednesday, it doesn't have to be a Wednesday, for me, but I picked a Wednesday. That I would come and we would, and also if you ever say, hey, let's just do this virtually, if you guys are good virtual, I'm great virtual too, we can do board meetings virtual. We're good virtual. Okay, so maybe on that one, we decide whether we want to do it virtual or not, but it's probably gonna be a couple hours. You're gonna come in having reviewed my video interviews and the application materials, and you're gonna think about who you wanna bring forward to the final, as finalists.
How's the 25th look for people?
February.
Yeah.
Do they see all applications before the interviews or after?
After, you mean the first round interviews?
No, do they see all the
After.
applications before? the-
On here, so that's okay.
After. And they can choose whether it's, or just look at the ones I did. Okay, is the 25th good? Okay, we have a couple of board members absent.
So can we confirm with Debbie before we That's far enough out if we need to move it to a Tuesday or something, we probably can, yeah. Okay, and then, I'm thinking that next week is, we'll do the confidential community panel. You will start some of your reference checking. And then we look at your finalist interviews being March 9th and 10th. This is, I think, is the biggest block of time that you'll need to work together. And it will really depend on how many, if you have two, we can do it in a day. If you have four, we probably gotta have 2 days to do it. And you'll have all the information, including reference checks. You'll already have the community panel. But I don't know what your daytime schedules look like, or if you wanna, block out 2 evenings. On March 9th and 10th.
I'm out for work on 2 days.
You are, okay. Well,
So you go that whole week, could we do it later? I'm literally on those. The
Just those
8th
2
through
days.
the, I don't know if I fly home on the 10th or the morning of the 11th.
Yeah. So let's do this, let's think about later in the week, and I need to check. One other, perhaps competing, my end to it, what if I connect with Marilyn in the morning and we then poll everyone to see? Is it better to do like a 4 to 8, a 4, try to push it in the evening, or do you wanna commit and try to do daytime?
I think we're evening people.
Your evening people, yeah. Okay, so, let's tentatively look at the, you drive like on the morning of the 11th.
And I think we have a board meeting on the 11th,
You do.
yeah. Which isn't that large.
So let's double check schedules and look for the evening of the 11th and evening of the 12th. And I'll double check my schedule in the morning as well.
Okay, and I'm gonna put this in an email to Debbie and to them. That the. What do you expect for this one? The 25th, February 25th would be. Virtual, the 25th would be virtual, what would be the time, how long would you need?
What's the earliest people can start virtually? I think you need to spend a couple, 2 to 3 hours.
In fairness, we're usually about 6 o'clock is about the earliest and most
Okay.
people in our group can be. available.
So let's just plan for 6 o'clock and plan for 2 to 3 hours if we get done earlier. You guys are efficient with your time, so that's good. So February 25th is going to be virtual, we've decided. And then March 11th and 12th, and again, those will probably, can we try to start at 5 those nights? Is that possible if we plan this far ahead?
I can.
I can adjust.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if everyone can, but I think we can start there and let's just finish.
Yeah. Let's try to do 5 to 9 p.m. just to hold it on calendars.
And that's for the.
That's for the in-person interviews in closed session and deliberation on finalists. And I'd actually encourage us to hold the 13th as well, in case we needed to pull like a virtual deliberation session on. If we just get to the point we're too tired on Thursday night, and we'll be like, let's virtually deliberate again. You just want to make sure you have enough time. And the 13th will be virtual. Okay, and then I'm gonna recommend that then you hold and wait for the third-party background check. And for that next week.
We have a policy on that, but yeah.
Okay. And so that would be the week of the 16th.
Okay.
And that may mean that you don't announce your selection until after spring break.
I think that's just fine.
Okay. So let's look at, and after spring break is March 30th, so I'll say the week of March 30th. That gives you a little wiggle room to slow things down a little bit. March 30th. Okay. And I'll choose
I'll choose a time for our confidential community panel and I'll block out on my end. Because every finalist has to go through that, so I'll need to just block out a full day on my end, so I'll pick the date and we'll publish it for final. And it gives us a little more time to have that. It's fine, check those dates. And I think everything else I had checked before I got it. Okay,
Did we talk about doing a day in the district for our finalists? That's where the pros and cons of a confidential community panel instead of. Oh, okay. Is doing that in lieu of a day in the life. And, I asked Mike, can you give feedback on how you felt the day of the life went? And he would say, it was not a great experience.
I had to do a community forum and my feet hurt so bad, I kept looking at the clock, thinking, is it ever gonna end? And I had one super agitated patron, I thought if I slow down my answers, he won't get back to the front of the line again. It's like, I remember that vividly.
It was exact that day along with 8 to 10 interviews here.
And then it is the job of the superintendent, but it doesn't, I don't think it gives the board rich feedback, is the other part of it. And you can assert if you decide that you want to do another sort of confidential panel, like you could ask your leadership team to do a short meet and greet with the finalist candidate, where they come to you and again, give you feedback. So we can add in a few little things like that, but probably the only way to keep it confidential is not to create the district. Sure.
I think
Oh, great.
what was really beneficial to me was the meet greet that happened after I was the superintendent.
Mhm.
After I was selected, then I was taken around the community and I got more out of that day than I did through that. A lot, I mean, that was a really big day for me.
I just reached out to Debbie and Tim and shared the dates and times, so I'll let you know when I hear back. I think we should calendar them, and then if we need to adjust them, we could do that next meeting.
Yeah, but I'll just totally crosswalk my calendar and make sure I'm set, but I'll let Marilyn know. Okay.
Okay. That's it, that's all we have to figure out?
Yeah, that's it.
She did all the hard work for us, now we just have to decide. I think our kind of big topics are we okay with 6 focus groups right now? Seems reasonable, and if we needed to adjust, I feel like, you feel like we have the flexibility to add one if we needed to, okay. Are we comfortable with the idea of confidential search? Okay. And steering away from the day in the life. Are we all comfortable with that? The calendar in general with all the changes that Christy just made, are we any concerns? Okay, so I think we could vote, but
Can we get an updated calendar with all that? Like I put some of those
We
dates in, but a reference one would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
we go right next to our budget calendar.
Yeah, as soon as we get everything locked in, we'll get you out of calendar.
Debbie said she can do Zoom because she'll be in Arizona, so as long as we have a Zoom link for any of those dates.
Okay, and so the
March.
March 10th and 11th.
12,
11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Do
So
you feel okay about having your finalist interviews with some board members on Zoom?
we can talk to her, I mean, she knows she's going to be gone, I think most of March. And so she just potentially may not be there, maybe she can listen in and it'll be slightly
Yeah.
different, it's hard to ask, I mean.
I know, it's hard to ask the questions and stuff.
But we can talk to her, we'll talk to her next board meeting and see how she feels about.
Can she, I mean, it's a Zoom link, right? It's a Zoom.
Yeah,
She put her questions in the chat and somebody could ask on her behalf.
Yeah, and are they pretty, well, we have a list of questions, we should be asking everyone the same questions, so I mean,
Yeah, other than when it gets down to the final interview, we'll ask the same questions in my interview process and the confidential community panel. And then for you, I'll give you some, but also there's gonna be differences in candidates and you're gonna want some specialized. So we'll spend a little time ahead of the interview to say, okay, what questions do you want to ask this candidate? Because there's gonna be a few that are different.
Cause if she's a part of that conversation, we kind of can prep those, that might be easier. Okay. Great.
And I just looked, I think my time is clear, so we're 11, 12, 15.
Any other questions about the calendar? Okay, I think then if everyone's comfortable, we can move to the action item to vote on the calendar. And I just need a motion to approve the calendar as amended, probably. I make a motion to approve the amended calendar. Yes, do I have a second? All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you all. And I think from us, is that all you needed tonight?
That's
I
all I
mean,
need. Is that
not
all?
that it wasn't hours of work, but.
No, I'm like, wow. No,
We tried to be efficient here.
well, that's why I knew that and I set you up, so I was hopeful we would do that. I'll try to be like that way for this whole process.
I have no doubt.
Becky had a computer sitting in front of her, she would have already posted the link.
Yeah, no, I actually was totally thinking I could go home and do it done.
No, you cannot go home and go home.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
he said,
I will.
Yes. Not raining. Okay, we'll keep moving to our next action item, which is to approve the SIA grant agreement. Do I have a motion to approve the grant?
I'm going to approve the SIA grant.
Second, all in favor? Motion passes. This is a new topic for us, an integrated pest management plan. Sounds very exciting, Mike.
yeah, well, so we've been, contacted by the, Oregon Department of Agriculture. We had a few years ago a violation of the, codes and requirements. And so we've been in the process of putting together a new plan. Been working with the folks at the Department of Agriculture to do this. And Joel, when he came back this week, put it together. And so here's where we should be seeing the plan. The plan had to have two elements that they address two criteria. We needed to make sure we had it. And one is that we had a district representative and it has the coordinator of the IPM. And two, that we had a list of the allowable pesticides that we could use. And they gave us some references. And one of them was OSU, so we have a list of the pesticides from OSU that's been approved.
If you had a chance to review the plan, in the third page is where it introduces me as the IPM coordinator, and then the IPM and the coordinating or the team, I recognize that Gail, there's other team members who would be part of that, but I am the IPM coordinator. And then and then as Mike referenced, on the back, this is really the meat and potatoes, is the list of approved pesticides and herbicides, because one key thing I want to make sure you guys recognize, the state of Oregon, the term pest is not like just mice and rats, it's also tall grass. And so you're talking about sprays for like herbicides and also for pest spray, for anything like spraying for mice and rats and wasps and stuff like that. But that list is on here, as Mike referenced, it's the list, it's the most updated list that was approved by the state of Oregon, and so that's in the plan. And then we adhere to that list.
And then the staff, so you and the staff will be trained about there's that in there, right? Like it talked about, like.
Yeah, there's requirements, there's actually legislative requirements.
Okay.
So that's referenced in there at the very top. It actually, what encompasses, the IPM is this right here, ORS 64,700, 64,750. That was introduced in 2012. And, so for 2012 was pretty much free for all, believe me. When it came to working for school, as far as what you could spray, what you couldn't spray, but after 2012, you really couldn't. So there is legislative rules about training and about notifications and stuff like that.
So we'll have a trained applicator, our staff member that he's already started actually. I think he's 3 webinars into the training now, 3 training sessions. And then you have a training session also, right?
Yeah, we'll have a training, you're required a 6-hour training yearly. And then we also have trainings that we're gonna do for all our staff, including, and when I say all staff, it's actually part of legislative, all staff. So that's gonna be, custodial staff, but the training's geared towards that. So like when you're talking to a teacher, you're helping them understand why it's not a good idea to have loose food in the classroom. That's just gonna attract mice and ants. When you're talking to the custodians, that's gonna be focused more on what can we do, when you recognize something's happening, getting the right proper notification to the right people so that we can get ahead of rodent issues and stuff like that.
Are you providing the trainings?
Yeah, we'll be working with, yes, but I'll be working with OSU. We're partnered with OSU. So in 2012, the back in training, way back, Oregon State University, they were like they're the gurus. They understand this. And so they basically took it on for the state of Oregon, and they've done that. And so this plan is actually a model plan that they created. And if you go to Google any school, you'll see almost identical language because it's just that big of a model and perfect. It fits what the state of Oregon wanted, and OSU knew what they wanted.
And I'm assuming that is that gonna be posted on our?
It is.
I
Yeah.
figured it was, I just.
We'll update, once you re-adopt tonight, it'll get re-updated. Oh, I'm sorry, it'll be posted, the new, it'll be posted and take place of the current.
I don't know if this matters, and it might not matter, but I noticed on page 3, when, we call out. Sorry, that Joel, you're the IPM coordinator is Joel, and then the director's core team includes IPM coordinator. I think that's supposed to say collaborator.
Oh, I'll wordsmith that.
Yeah.
Get that. Correctly, so it reads a little smoother, is that what you're thinking? So just read a little smoother and.
Well, I think it gives a definition of coordinator and collaborator like lower, and I think you're the coordinator, right? And they're the collaborators.
Yeah, I'll put that there. Thank you.
Yeah, no, okay.
It's a policy committee, did you see
Man,
that?
we-
Like,
Bonus points, you actually read that. I mean, that was kind of a test. You passed.
Nailed it again. I would tell you what do you want. No, go ahead. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the integrated pest management plan?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion passes. You now have a new plan, Joel.
Well, thank you.
More than conquer.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Last is we have to approve the budget calendar for budget calendar. And in fairness, I didn't read this one, so, but I will did that.
I'm shocked. Janelle, do you want to speak to the budget calendar?
It's the template from last year, just moving forward with this year's dates. So, well, there's a few, the work sessions changed a little bit. We kept up the timeline to get started a little earlier. But other than that, like the board meeting and the budget team meeting are all the same. So,
So they're all in compliance with ORS.
Okay. Sounds good to me. If you wanted to have a motion for the budget calendar?
This is the budget. This is the 26, 27,
25.
25, 26, sorry, can't see it.
We got a motion, a second. Second, all in favor? Motion carries. Okay, we're on to our last item for today. Trustee reports. Mr. Anderson, do you want to start us down?
Yeah,
went to a lady CSD meeting, went to a VFW. Presentation for, awards. And there's a couple of the officers there that were a little miffed that nobody from the middle school presented an application. What you have to do is write a thesis on, I don't, they pick their subject and write a story. And my granddaughter's won since middle school, over $1,000 doing that. And they kept saying, there's a lot of money to give away, but nobody's applying. And I don't know what happened, and I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but they were disappointed, but.
Is that, did the deadline, or have we already reached the deadline for that application?
Mike, I don't know what happened. Yet, you know, they said nobody applied and, talking to them there, and, you know, I wasn't sure what the, you know, asking.
We'll reach out to them and find out.
I gave my number next, sure, call us next time, but they, if you make it to the nationals, it's $35,000 first place prize, so it's, there's a lot of bucks there for somebody that wants to do it. The other thing that you guys know that I'm on the airport board. And the last few meetings, the pilots and the pilot instructors have been talking to me, and I've had a couple of moms talk to me about when are the kids gonna start picking up what they're doing. I think maintenance, and they're doing, studying to pass the written test. Okay, when are the kids gonna be able to fly? And so, I talked to Mike and I got together for lunch and talked to him about what kind of a timeline, what do we need to do? And I know everybody's busy, but from where I'm at on the board, I can, if it's okay with everybody, I can get a lot of information from the pilots. One, what's your cost? Two, what kind of timing you work in the morning? Can you work in the afternoon? Can you be flexible? And there's also a lot of grants out there now that I think we can get those kids flying for very low cost. But Shelley, the airport manager, is gonna give me all the email addresses for all those places you apply to. And I don't know that I'm gonna do that, but I'd be happy to get all that information together and give it to Mike and Chad, or how we want to do that, but I think I could save somebody some time. And I'd love to do that if that's okay, but, like I said, my goal for a long time has been to hand out a graduation certificate, the pilot's license for graduation, so. I'm gonna push a little bit, but anyway, it's okay. I'll get all the information I can and turn it over to whoever and see what happens. I know we've got a budget thing. That's why I think that grant thing right now is really important.
So we got a couple of things. One is lining up the instructor for the kids. And the second is developing a schedule that cooperates or can interface with the high school schedule. And we talk about because kids have pretty much fixed schedules from freshman through junior year. There's a sequence of math, there's a sequence of science, they are kind of locked into schedules through there. So and depending on the instructor, when the instructor is available and how that aligns to the high school schedule and the student schedules, we need to look for the biggest opportunity for kids to get involved, and want to get involved, and see how we can work that out.
Is our insurance policy ready for kids to be flight?
No, but theirs is, the instructor will be that comes out of the airport. They'll provide the instructor.
The instructor will provide the insurance policy on our kids?
The airport will. On our kids?
Yeah, like.
Well, for the whole experience, there's got to be some, that we haven't reached that level yet, so we haven't processed it with pace to find out who does what.
Yeah.
But, you know, so we'll figure that out, but that person's gotta have a background check and go through all the things that a teacher does.
Okay.
So.
Okay, perfect. Just wondering what that's gonna do to our insurance policy.
Baby up there, what? No, it'll be fine, there's other districts that are doing this, and we can use their templates to work it through and figure out what we need to do with our policy.
The people one people over at sisters have a full class every year now for several years. for their graduation ceremony, they fly someplace in Oregon, have lunch, and get to fly home, but. I'm sure if we got right down to it, they could give us all the information they could too, so. But we're so close, so we gotta. Maybe help some of these kids get jobs, there are a lot of jobs out there for pilots, so. Yeah, it's fun.
Be excited. Not for me. Thank you, Mike, very much. Lacey.
IRC has been at her members.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
Just, our angel tree where we have families from the school that may need a little bit of help over Christmas, they put an angel with needs, so if you're feeling like you have the ability to take one of those angels off the tree and buy for, I think we had a record number of kids and families that are needing assistance for the year.
Where is the tree?
Where is that located? The two businesses would be.
Blue Valley and Bean Hopper still have tags.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say Bean Hopper, I remember Blue Valley.
Thursday and Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Next week.
Oh, next
Next
week.
week. Next week.
They are due back on Sunday. We'll be coordinating and making sure all the kids are shopped for and all the things, all the check boxes are done on Monday. So, begin on Monday.
Thank you.
Sorry, I did not mean to. I'm done now. I'm gonna just.
All I got, I don't have much to say, but I don't.
Signed up to be an FBLA judge in January at the middle school again.
Yeah.
And I went to my first hostage situation of wrestling season last weekend. Those Jimmy smelled, like, oh, yeah, he felt well. A kid dislocated his elbow and got hauled off in the ambulance. Oh. My goodness, it's crazy. And I had fondue dinner since our last board meeting. And I fondue.
Oh, yeah.
So nice, since our last board meeting.
Oh, hey, Mike, we were gonna do one.
Yeah, I know it, how did we miss that?
You
Altered.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I got.
Let's see, I also signed up to be a judge for FBLA. Our leadership meeting, and we met with,
Oh, yeah.
Christy, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I met with Christy, we had our leadership meeting. And I also had fondue since then, but not at a school event.
Oh, my own school, I don't know.
But I had a bunch of school events. I had it for my nephew's birthday, so it kind of counts. But I think that's it. It's been, oh, and we did Thanksgiving Day, or Thanksgiving baskets. Yeah, put together. So, okay, I think that is it for us tonight. Unless anyone has anything else, we are adjourned.
Nothing.
Thank you. Okay.